I owned my mistake.
The
Silence.
Rapid Heavy Missile Launchers Raffle, by the way, has a 2-second rate of fire with 3 ballistic control systems.
All right, we got a new match.
Navy Scorpion.
Tuskars versus CVA. This is definitely the winner's match. And we were talking about Bargists, and Bargists were banned before. And CVA took Bargists. Mm-hmm. They have a Bargist Sleipnir. They've got 2 bursts, which are the frigate logistics, right? You're allowed to take 2 frigate logistics in this Alliance tournament. And Tuskars just have Fleet Typhoons, boring. Eos, Sweeple, Confessor, Vengeance, Purifier, Purifier Hound. So essentially the Tuskars have the Warlords and Camel team, except without a Malice. They've got a Vengeance instead. Mm-hmm. And CVA are taking sort of a more innovative approach to it with Bargists and Sleipnirs.
Yeah, and you can see they're both sort of that range. The Molluses there are going to have a lot of damage, a lot of control. As you see the CVA control bars spike right there. Bargists are going to be able to apply damage from range and use their long-range scrams to be able to keep points. Sleipnirs, are they allowed Tech 2 links?
Yep, you can have Tech 2 links. And yes. It looks like CVA is singling out a Confessor for the Tuskars team. Odd choice. Confessor's a really tanky ship, especially once it knows it's getting shot. It can swap into the tank mode, which lowers the SIG. And
yeah, their DPS would have been much better off on the Hound or Purifiers. They could have instantly gotten the Stealth Bombers off the field. So it's a bad choice there, in my opinion.
Wow, so I was talking about how useless Molluses are in Damsar, but you can see how disgustingly effective they are against these Fleet Typhoons, right? These Fleet Typhoons are struggling to apply any of their damage. Look at this Tuskar's attack bar. It's super tiny. Like the filled-in part is how much is being applied. Yeah. So nothing's being applied because these Fleet Typhoons are damped down to hell and back to hell.
Well, that's the thing, though. If you the damps with only unbonused hull without scripts aren't going to be worth bringing, but only Mollus, who has a bonus for damps, you can definitely see the effect here. As the burst here is dropping through shields.
Oh, Tuskars caught a burst. They caught a CVA burst. These bursts, they don't tank that well once you catch them, and he's dead. Yeah. Now there's only 1 burst left. So, yeah, it's eventually going to eat it as well. Tuskars are offering up a trade to the CVA team. They're saying, yo, I'll trade you my Vengeance for your 2 bursts. And looks like CVA took the trade and are struggling to kill a Vengeance.
So they swapped the DPS onto the Hawk there. And Tuskars are able to kill a Hawk there pretty quickly. Didn't see any reps come in for it because the burst most likely just completely overheated and burned in the opposite direction to get away from the tackle. And the second Hawk's going down, news applied. Wow, you just seen these frigates melt. The burst rep range nowhere near long enough to be able to survive. And not
okay, and now these Molluses don't. Tuskars just aren't caring anything about these Molluses. These Molluses are throwing all their damps on all their targets. It looks like they're splitting damps between the Logi and the Fleet Typhoon, but the Tuskars just don't care. They're just melting through everything. They've caught a Sleipnir now. Looks like they're going to try and melt that. The burst is actually repping the Sleipnir, so we'll see like these little baby bursts of shield coming back. But CVA still has, in spite of all of this, they still have a lot of damage left on the field. They've got 2 Bargists and 1.5 Sleipnirs.
If you look at the CVA attack bar, actually, they're not applying much DPS here. The Oneros is having no problem getting reps out. Looks like the Typhoon fleet issues have closed range on a lot of the ships, so they can apply damage without having to worry about lock range from the damps. So it's as I say, that the Sleipnir is just melting. He's just getting shredded.
Yeah, that Sleipnir is not going. He's getting repped by the. Oh, you got one rep cycle on the. The burst got 1 rep cycle on the Sleipnir right at the end, but no, Bargist is tackled. This is not good. These Bargists were definitely kiting before. They had no Logi, so I have a feeling they're going to have next to no tank. They're just hoping to speed tank a little bit, and yeah, no, definitely not good. But as we can look at this dominated performance from this Tuskars team, we can just look at their ban. They banned Tingaloki, which is essentially just Tinker. So they banned Tinker. Not really, even though we saw Hydro beat a Tinker with this exact setup, they didn't feel comfortable enough doing it.
Yeah, this is I was expecting to see a little bit more from CVA with the setup they brought.
And CVA definitely a fan favorite, but the Tuskars are one of these teams that you can kind of snooze on. Right? You don't really think about them too much on TQ a lot of the times, but the last 2 years they've been very, very strong in the Alliance tournament. I think they're probably one of the, I'd say in the top 8 for the Alliance tournament right now.
Well, and they brought a proven setup so far this tournament. I mean, and this setup seems. I think the setup's won every single match has been brought in today. The Fleet Typhoons.
Yeah, I think so too. Very strong teams have been fielding it. And if we swap back to the losers bracket stream, since this one's over, we have Quebec United Legion going against Project Mayhem.
I tuned in just in time to see this Vindicator almost hit slip into structure.
We've got some interesting teams. So Project Mayhem's going for sort of a Tinker, but with armor. They're using a Proteus. Kind of. It's not that good, actually. The armor ups on the Proteus aren't as good as the shield reps on the Tengu or the Loki. Mm-hmm. But hey, I mean, it's doing work.
It's working. I mean, all these battleships are able to melt that Vindicator underneath the Guardian reps. So that's something to attest to. I'm not sure how I feel about the double Loki. I don't know how I feel about that at all.
So the Lokis are a lot of points. They're 16 points, just like a command ship. They offer a lot of control if you have them in, like with the webs, but these don't look to be the webbing Lokis. I can't really zoom in.
Yeah, I'm looking very well. It's not the configuration for the web Loki, I don't think.
Well, either way, they went up against a Tinker team, which doesn't need to be controlled through webs. So these Lokis for this particular matchup are completely useless.
You know, I said early this morning that I want to see more Vindicator, and since so far we've seen, I think, a Vindicator in almost every single match, and they've always lost.
But we are seeing just like normal Typhoons, not Fleet Typhoons, just normal Typhoons. That's pretty wild. This Project Mayhem team is really bizarre, but it's doing work. Like it's a really tanky sort of armor Tinker. That's with a bunch of newts, which is a pretty interesting take on it.
According to Bumble Tumble in chat, they're ECM Lokis.
ECM Lokis? That's not a thing. Like
I didn't think so either, but I just reading chat, just saying. I didn't think it was a thing.
In chat, you're a liar, mate.
The blue team
I mean, they might actually be ECM Lokis, but that's not a configuration. They're unbonused if they do that, right? So I think it's more likely that these Vexers have ECM on them. Because the Vexers have a fair amount of mid slots for a cruiser, for an armor cruiser at least.
Yeah, what's interesting is the blue team banned Blackbird and Purifier. I don't know why they would ban the Purifier. That's, I mean, an EM damage bonus ship versus armor tankers. I'm not so sure about.
Yeah, I mean, so that's one of the things about banning. Like, if you don't want to see bombers, you can't just ban one of them, right? Because then the guys can just bring the other 3. So you can see 6 bombers instead of 8. Maybe they were just afraid of seeing 8 bombers. So maybe they thought Quebec United Legion are just crazy. They're going to take a Guardian and like 8 bombers and just roll face. But no, they're not crazy.
Yeah, actually, no, they are pretty crazy because this setup is pretty crazy.
Okay, this setup is crazy, but it just looks really bad in light of the matchup, right? Like, they did not want to go up against this type of matchup. This team they rolled the dice and essentially got unlucky. Because this team can't beat a Tinker at all. There's no hope for it to beat a Tinker. Well, there might be a hope for it to beat a Tinker, but it's really, really, really far out hope. Like, they have to hope their Vexer gets a jam on the Tinker Logi. So they brought a team that can do a fair amount of damage and has a lot of control through webs, but very low DPS, and they went up against a team that doesn't care about any of that.
Well, it's crazy because once the Vindicator died, you're not seeing really any damage coming across the field, and so I'm not sure if they're just jammed or if they can't chew through these Lokis, which these Lokis are sitting on top of them, which was most likely going to be. Actually, the only thing webbed is the Battle. Now the Proteus is webbed.
We're poo-pooing on these Quebec United Legion's team, but maybe they still have it if they can kill this Proteus, which is not out of the realm of possibility, right? Like, the Proteus doesn't tank very well.
They have 1 minute and 45 seconds. And
okay, well, it's out of the realm of possibility then. Yeah. Unless this damnation is just a full ham nation. which would be pretty cool. It's something I don't think we ever see because it would be a waste of 16 points. But I mean, you could see it.
Yeah, no, well, this Proteus is going to have large amount of active reps on the transferring cap, like all the Tinker setups do. And just for anyone new tuning in, a Tinker setup, guys, is using a Tech 3 as your logistics ship, using the logistics hull. And they don't get a range bonus, so they do get a substantial amount of rep bonuses.
So generally, when you take a Proteus as your Logi, you have, which actually Project Mayhem do have. They have all of their mid slots used for some sort of control, but you generally see your mid slots used as control in the form of like tracking disruptors or dams or something like that. Because when you're not using a shield tank, you've got a bunch of mid slots. So your mid slots can just mitigate damage some way through E-War of some fashion. But the only E-War and damage mitigation that Project Mayhem have are through the form of newts and high slots. So weird team, definitely from both, or weird setups from both teams for sure. But Project Mayhem appears to be living another day.
Yeah. So guys, this was the loser bracket match. So the Quebec United Legions will be out of the tournament for this loss. Sorry to see them go. They brought a Vindicator and lost like all the other Vindicator teams.
The Vindicators seem pretty much cursed.
Yeah, guys, I love the Vindicator, but please quit bringing them. Apparently, they don't work. Apparently.
I mean, unless you want to lose in style. If you want to lose in style, you can definitely do that.
Let's see. Coming up next on Stream 1, though, guys, we do have Warlords of the Deep versus the Methodical Alliance. The Methodical Alliance is a tournament team for the past, I think, few years. I don't remember.
You know, we should play the guessing game of what Warlords of the Deep are going to bring.
Okay.
Do you want to give it a shot?
I think Warlords of the Deep is going to bring something that we haven't seen so far in the tournament. I want to say that they're going to just go ahead and change it up and prove everyone that we're the best. Because Warlords of the Deep is this is the Hydra team. They've been in many of the tournaments. Have won quite a few. So.
Yeah, they've won one. They've won one.
Well, they won the Neo. And then,
yeah, the Neo doesn't count.
didn't they win? They won the Alliance tournament as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they won Alliance tournament 9. No.
No, it was 11.
Yes, 9. They won 9.
I don't think it was 9.
Yeah, it's the one where they won first and second, and then people got mad at them.
Oh, yes, it was 9, because then I had to deal with it at Alliance tournament 10 as a commentator. Thanks, guys. I hate this team now.
But anyway, they're I don't know, probably, if you want to call them tournament royalty, they're definitely tournament royalty. I think they're in everyone's list of top 3 teams forever. Like, they've been that way since Alliance Tournament 8, which is when they've taken a pretty big interest in it. And so they've got sort of all of the best players.
Camel Empire, Pandemic Legion, and Warlord of the Deep are typically the top 3.
Yeah, I guess you could shove PL in there. We're good, I guess.
Except for when they lose to Nully.
Yeah. Well, Nully team, people will poo-poo on them, but their tournament team is the same as the Hun team, which is actually one of the stronger teams in the modern tournament era, I think. So Alliance Tournament 8 and onward, I called the modern tournament era because before that there was kind of just random shit that just happened.
So what do you think Warlords will be bringing?
I think they're going to be bringing the exact same thing that we saw Camel bring, which is the exact same thing Warlords of the Deep brought, which is their Typhoon fleet issues, some bombers, a Malice that they warp in really close to try and bait you into, and then 2 Sweeples and 2 Confessors. The funny part was Hydra took the unfield, Warlords took this team for the first time that we saw at All Tournament. It was yesterday against Black Legion. And Black Legion bit so hard on the Malice that warped in close. They threw all of their deeps on it, couldn't get it to like below 95% armor, and then just lost their entire team.
So it's a tried and true strategy going on here.
It's funny because Camel and Hydra do the same exact thing with the warping. They bring everything at 50 and put the Malice in at 30. And then when you just see the Malice, you just run after it because you're like, oh, this guy screwed up his warping, blah, 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 and they just run at it. 50 billion-esque frigate, might as well go for it.
Well, it's an AT ship, man. Guys, we can instantly zonk this. We can instantly zonk this 8 Alliance Tournament frigate, 50 billion-esque frigate, and then we can just lose or whatever. I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, the Black Legion just went down to the losers bracket. Maybe they just like the losers bracket, and they're like, you know what? Let's make Hydra lose one of their cool ships. We'll get some
Well, I mean, in other games,
edit upvotes.
like in League of Legends and Counter Strike and these tournaments that they have, a lot of times you'll see teams purposely go down to the losers bracket just because they think they'll have an easier time and be able to come back for the final. So maybe it's just strategy.
Maybe it is. I don't know. It's pretty hellish. Pandemic Legion went down into the losers bracket in Alliance Tournament 11, I think it was, and I think our pilots almost died. Right, like people had like strokes, ulcers. Seamus will probably never be the same again. He's gonna die in early age because of it, because it's so stressful to run match after match after match after match. You have to run like 8 matches in a single day, and towards the end, the PL team was just so dejected and so burned out that they're like, you know what? I just give me second place. I don't care anymore. I just want to go home. I just want to take a nap. Luckily, they didn't.
Sorry, I'm just reading chat. Someone asked if anyone had a Malice for sale, which I don't think you're gonna actually find anyone selling a Malice right now. Not during the Lions tournament.
I mean, you're probably gonna. I'll sell you one for like 100 bill. I've got a bunch.
Hey, oh, is PL
one
of
the
Malices? I'm still looking for an address to you, Elise. By the way.
I don't know if we're gonna see any in this Alliance tournaments, but.
We haven't seen them at all. You guys have I every single year I ask for an address to a team from PL and we never see it.
We fielded once in Alliance Tournament 11. Actually, we fielded an address to a team twice in Alliance Tournament 11, and we lost an address to, I think. Pretty sure we lost an address in one of the matches.
I want one so I can lose it on stream. It'd be the best stream ever.
You get jammed by like one drone and then just rage.
I That's would exactly rage so hard. I would walk away. I would walk away and leave the stream running and just not leave the house. I would be so mad if I lost an address to you because of a single Griffin.
Yeah. And it would happen too. Like someone would just, and it wouldn't even. It would just be like a multi-spec Griffin too. It wouldn't even be like.
Manny just messaged me. He said Dan Cool lost the address to you.
Yeah. Alliance Tournament 11, we lost an Adrestia. That was actually one of my favorite teams, right? It was an Adrestia control team with a Chronos and some Blackbirds or something, or some Rooks, and 2 Celestises, because Celestises were overwhelmingly dominant in that tournament. They were discussing like 80% damps. Like, that's just gross. You can't lock anything. You can't remote sensor booster out of it. You're just done. So that was a beautiful team, but we lost in Trusty. Whatever, things get countered. We ended up winning the tournament, so it totally works.
I lost Malice because Damnation didn't switch links on. Rip your Malice, buddy.
That's awful. Oh, actually, I remember that. I've seen that kill mail. It was in low stack. I'm messing around.
I wish I had fancy ships.
Man, did I ever
fancy pants ships.
You've won it like 4 times.
Yeah, but didn't you get knocked out of the tournament by Nolly last year?
This was 2012 is when the mouse died. Okay, sorry, just looking at some ads while we wait for this first match on Stream 1 to come back on. We do have Warlords of the Deep versus the Methodical Alliance. Elise predicted a Fleet Typhoon setup. I'm hoping for something completely different because I'm sick of seeing the same thing over and over again.
Not only did I predict a Fleet Typhoon setup, I predicted a Fleet Typhoon setup with a Malice whooping in close. Let's see who's right. It's starting.
Here it goes. And one Fleet Typhoon.
Yes, with the Malice up close.
2 Malices.
There's actually 2 Malices up close. It's a slightly different team. No.
Versus.
It's just basically the same exact team. Yeah. But it's got 2 Malices instead of 1, and both Malices are up close.
Well, the Methodical Alliance brought 2 Vargers, Vultures, Scimitar, 2 Jackdaws, 2 Sweeples, 2 Sigils, and 2 Neuruses. 2 Haulers.
So the Methodical Alliance is taking the core team of what the Nully team took yesterday, which was this Varger Scimitar team. So they're adding 4 Haulers to it, which I'm not sure if that's going to make it better or worse. I guess we'll see.
Well, we saw a lot of Vargers the last Lions tournament, and I think we saw them from Nully yesterday. We'll have to see how
So
they
the
do here.
difference now in this Alliance tournament is the Bastion mod, which is the mod that goes on Marauders that makes them, it's essentially their mini siege mode, makes them immune to jams and stuff, and gives them a whopping tank and a whopping optimal. Yeah, that mod's banned. So these Vargers, they're very vulnerable to ECM, which Warlords don't have, which is good for the Vargar team. But I don't know, you can see the range. Nice. Good job, IST. You can see the range. Both teams wanted to warp in at max distance to the beacon, and they both got max distance, right? So it's not always where if you warp in at 50 to the arena, it's not always that you warp in 50 from your opponent, right?
Yeah, from their angles, they're probably, 80 kilometers apart-ish?
Yeah, because you can get angles where you're right next to each other, essentially, because there's different beacons that you can warp in at, and you don't know what your opponent's beacon is.
Yeah, so it looks like they're
So
probably
we get to
80
look at
kilometers
two
away.
very pretty Malices. This is definitely the most expensive team fielded in this Alliance tournament so far with the double Malices. That's 80 billion ISK worth in frigates alone. And if ISD can listen to us and zoom in on these Malices, they're insanely pretty.
Yeah, the match is underway. Malice is immediately pulling range. The Vargar, even without the Bastion mode, autocannons do extend range pretty well. Unless they're artillery fit with their starting setup, I don't think they'd be artillery fit, but I've been wrong before.
Yeah, so it's very interesting to watch what both of these teams are doing, right? Warlords of the Deep are a very practiced team. You can see them immediately split up the arena, move around, spread out, and just essentially surround the Methodical Alliance, who are just now penned into the corner of the arena, as you can see, or you will be able to see soon. So these guys can't go anywhere without the Warlords team dropping on them. And if they try and move, they're going to get pinned down by these Malices and probably tackle Confessors. So it's pretty cool to see them do it. And now the Warlords team just say, you know what, we're going to test your tank. We're going to shoot this Vargar and see what happens.
Yeah, something what's really interesting is from the blue team, the Methodical, they banned an Orthrus and a Kitsune. I mean, Kitsune you understand for jams, but the Orthrus, I mean, I guess they're afraid of it running them down and tackling, because it looks like they are trying to kite a little bit here with the Methodical team.
I don't know why you ban Orthrus Kitsune when Warlords of the Deep is known for bringing the same setup over and over and over and over again until the last weekend. Because this setup, it's obviously not their endgame setup, but they think it's very strong. And they're obviously right in that it's very strong because it's not owning yet. But
So they did get some newts onto the Scimitar here.
So these Malices have tackled the Scimitar of the Methodical Alliance, not in the traditional sense with webs, but with newts, right? And the newts on the Malices are disgustingly powerful. You don't see it coming because they're just little frigate hulls. But the newts will cap dry the Scimitar out real quickly. And now it's scrambled in the traditional sense. And now badness is happening. Like, the Warlords are descending on the Methodical Alliance. And so it was 2 minutes of just spreading out and getting positioned correctly. And now it's going to be probably about a minute of pure and unadulterated carnage. As the Scimitar is dying, Harker is not going to last much longer. He's gone. He's scrammed. He can't blink. He can't do anything.
And those Malices are little velociraptors, man.
They're
literally just on top of them.
Brutal as heck.
Those Malices just won the match for them, hands down. Like, literally charge in, get the newts, and wow. You didn't see any damage applied to them either. Like, literally, they went in completely unscathed.
Yep, so here's the thing. If you try and copy this Warlords team and you put Vengeances on, as we saw Tuskars do, if you fly double Vengeance here, it's a completely different team that doesn't have any new pressure. These Vargars are melting. They've got ASBs, I'm sure, but look at this damage that's being applied between the...
It's like a deck of cards falling over.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's all over now. These haulers are not going to do it for them. Methodical going for,
Yeah,
I guess...
And in chat, Twanson says a Malice can newt the DCU off of a command ship. That's pretty impressive, being that DCU only takes one cap to use.
Yeah, the Malice is actually disgusting because it uses, unlike the Curse or the Balgorn, it gets a bonus to it's a smaller ship, so it gets that bonus to the small newts. So the cycle time is super fast compared to the mediums and heavies. So it just gets an amount. And this Vargar, the last Vargar, is melted. It's gone. So 2 minutes of positioning, 1 minute of just unadulterated dunks.
Oh wow, I want a Malice now. That's intense.
Malice teams are completely beautiful.
I didn't realize
look, and they're
just how
zooming in on
strong
the
they
Malice
were.
right now, so you can see like how pretty it looks. If you zoom in close enough, you can see like Alliance Tournament 9 just engraved in the side. This is very nice.
Shooting room with
Man.
Malice is super crazy good, so you can get massive tank and full rack of newts, which are bonus to the point of being a recon. So you get cursed newts on a Malice with a cycle time of small newts. That's pretty imba.
Yeah, it's very strong. It's very strong, and you can see this Warlord team wasn't tested at all. They're just doing the standard thing that they do, right? They just take a really strong setup over and over again and just dominate whatever they think the meta is going to be. And you can see that they banned Tengu Loki, even though we saw in the match earlier with Camel, they took essentially the same team, and they just dismantled a Tinker.
Yep, and it looks
They
like Stream
dismantled
2 Stream 2 is already started, guys, and the Basilisk is down for Black Legion. Verge versus Black Legion. Verge, I believe, is also a known tournament team.
Yeah, I think they've won a tournament as well. Maybe not with these people, but the team itself, the name has, I think, won a tournament. I think they won Alliance Tournament 10, maybe? Either way, Black Legion are definitely in a hole here with their Basilisk pilot going down. This Verge team...
Another Tinker team.
It is an armor Tinker, yeah, for sure. And Black Legion did not want to see this. They banned Tengu Loki for sure. And then Verge says, you know what, we've got this Legion team that tinkers, so good luck, have fun with that.
Yeah. I mean, are we going to see next year them ban Tinker teams? I mean, it's...
I don't think so, because I don't know. It's hard to predict how the meta is going to go out, but after seeing Camel just dismantle a Tinker earlier with the Hydra Camel team, because they're the same team, I think people might start deconstructing how they did it, and maybe the Tinkers won't be that strong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But the thing about this Alliance tournament is the way that we knew how to deal with Tinkers in the last Alliance tournament was completely removed. So Damps are gone, and the drone shotgun teams are gone. And those were the Achilles heel of the Tinker last year.
Yeah.
So without any natural predators, I think they're going to excel for a little bit until people figure out a new way to deal with them.
Well, the core of the Camel Hydra team was the Malice, and with the small newt cycle time. So I mean, with the double Malice newts there, you could probably cap out the Legion even under the pressure of cap transfers because of the increased cycle time of the small newts. So I mean that could be the possible counter, is to have so many newts that even with cap transfers you can't rep.
I mean, maybe that's what people are thinking as well, because if you look at the flagships, more than half of the black flagships are either Balgorn or Armageddon, which are essentially the newt and control ships. Armageddon just gets a bonus to the newts. Balgorn gets a different bonus to newts and a bonus to webs. So maybe that's what they think is going to happen. Maybe just people are, maybe the better teams, I guess, are banning Tinkers now and then just taking their Tinker killers next week. Because maybe they have like some hidden Tinker killers.
Or they don't. Maybe they expected completely different meta for the tournament this year.
Yeah, that's another possibility. That is definitely another possibility. I don't know if you save your Tinker killer team for later, especially if you're in the losers bracket. That's a really good point. But Black Legion going to be eliminated here. Verge of Collapse, who many didn't suspect would go down to the losers bracket after the first match yesterday, but apparently they had some connection issues. Maybe they got DDoS. They're not quite sure what happened, but
people in chat were talking about DDoS earlier for the Verge match. So
yeah, the Verge match had a bunch of people disconnect from comms, and I think even people disconnect from the match itself. And I mean, it's a shitty thing to happen, right? But I guess they're making the best of it now and making quick work of this BL team.
You don't see DDoS as much in EVE anymore. Probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago maybe, DDoS was really popular in Fleet Warfare and on TQ, especially if you're fighting Russians. Yeah.
I mean, the last time PL fought Russians, which was earlier in this year, we got DDoS during our move off. It was pretty awful. So, Yeah, it's pretty terrible. It's a shitty thing to do. It's something you can avoid as well if you're quite careful about it. I definitely recommend it to everyone who's going to take part of the Alliance tournament to just refresh your IP. Don't jump on Skype ever, because Skype just gives people your IP. And don't download anything funny.
And according to Sandwich, by the way, Verge Collapse won the Alliance tournament where the Tanas were given out.
Yeah. So it's the name Verge of Collapse won, but the people running the team, I think it's a different team now.
So
I think a lot of those people are in Try now, if I'm not mistaken.
Look through chat real quick. Looks like, can you use implants and drugs for tournament?
No drugs, but you can use 3% implants.
And then, as far as I can tell, it wasn't the other team DDoSing. Yeah, Taunton. I don't think it wouldn't be the other team DDoSing. Typically, it's going to be someone else that has a grudge. Probably not even related to the tournament. Just wanting to see them fail.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you don't get DDoSed by people that you're playing against, right? You get just DDoSed by someone else.
Peter, how the fuck does Skype give your IP? There is an older version of Skype that has some sort of vulnerability where it's able to see other clients of Skype's IP. I don't know the exact details, but it's a thing. So always keep your Skype offline anytime you're in a tournament setting.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you can still definitely get someone's IP from Skype. I've had people grab my IP a bunch of times, and luckily I don't do anything important, so who cares? And then we can see that this Black Legion Vigil is just charging in. He's taking his death like a man. What a player. Just charging into the Horde. A lot of times you see people, oh, now he's flying away. He's now running away. I called him a warrior, now he just keeps running like a coward. Alright. At least, okay, he's making it towards the edge of the arena at least. Good job, Vigil.
The Malice, it's what, 3 points?
4 points. It's considered
okay.
an assault frigate.
Alright, so someone's asked in chat, would the Sentinel be a suitable replacement for the Malice?
It's an extra point, right? It's 5 points because it's an EAF, and it doesn't tank nearly as well. But I mean, obviously, you're going to say a 50 billion ISK frigate or a 40 billion ISK frigate, whatever, is going to outclass a 20 million ISK frigate. But it's just that
it'd be point value wise. I mean, you have to definitely see how many points you have left.
The Sentinel just gets blapped so fast because it's such a thin ship. Like, that's how it's balanced. It's balanced by being really, really thin. It's very strong, but it has no tank to speak of. The Malice, on the other hand, is a vengeance in its tank, but it also gets the newts on top of that, right? So it doesn't have to deal with balance because there's only 48 of them in the game. They're not worried about fleets of Malices wreaking havoc.
Yeah, well,
so
I mean,
when they design these tournament ships, they try to make them completely overpowered and disgusting.
The Sentinel also, I'm not sure if the Malice gets the newt bonus. Does the Malice get the newt range bonus?
I think it's just newt amount.
Okay, because the Sentinel does get the range bonus, I believe. So, I mean, you'll be able to stay a little bit farther away, but it's still only, I think, maybe like only 25 kilometer range on the Sentinel. I think I've got EFT.
Yeah, okay. It's something like 20 or something, yeah. But, yeah.
But it's not really a suitable replacement because it will die a lot quicker.
Yeah, like that's the thing. The Warlords team and the Camel team are using it as
31 kilometer range, by the way. 31.5.
Durable tackle. Oh, damn.
Yeah, 31.5 kilometer range on the newts, but 31.5 kilometer range is an easily range for most DPS ships to reach out to. So it's not that able to survive with 3 low slots and 2 rig slots. So it's not really not worth it unless you don't think you'll be able to bring enough anti-frigate ships to kill it. If you're able to stay at range and use dams or something to keep it from taking damage, maybe. But as it's been shown by that last Warlords of the Deep match, the Malice's newts are extremely effective, as well as being on a frigate platform. They're able to catch these logistics and complete.
Yep, absolutely, and that's what we saw earlier. But the Verge of Collapse, keep going. Black Legion eliminated. I don't think they really like the Alliance tournament anyway.
Harder replace didn't matter.
Not even that. I think they actually just don't care about the Alliance tournament. Like the people who really like the Alliance tournament are, they were from the old Atlas team, who were very good, but I think they've moved on to Dead Terrorists. So the core of the BL just kind of like to fly ships, so they flew some ships. They ran into a really annoying setup that was a brick wall that they couldn't get past. Props to Verge of Collapse for continuing on. And let's see, what good matches do we have coming up? I'm sure there are some good ones. I really liked the Rote Dead Terrorist match. I thought that one was pretty funny or fun to watch. It was the double Balgorn team.
Their bans though. Their bans, like, that was the biggest thing about their match, was they banned the 2 ECM ships and left every single option on the table for the people to bring against them.
Yeah, let's see. So Afterlife against Together We Solo in a losers bracket match. That's the one coming up next. And then MIF, Ministry of Inappropriate Footwork, versus Triumvirate. That should be a really fun match, which is coming up in like 20 minutes. Yeah, it's coming up in like 25 minutes.
Shit. I just closed the stream.
Nice. Good job. Good job.
I'm an expert at this, guys. And now you probably see a picture of Hilmar. I clicked on a link, and then I went to close it because it opened in the wrong window. Yep, there's Hilmar right there on stream.
Well played. Well played.
All right.
It looks like he's playing Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Whatever, there's nothing going on anyways. You just see the splash screen of the Alliance tournament.
Yeah, it should be loaded in a second. Yeah, so Shiloh11 subscribed 4 months in a row, and thank you so much for the resub and support. Love you, buddy. Let's see. Let me look. Just scrolling through chat, guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in chat. I'm joined here, myself being Laz, joined here with Elise Randolph. And if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in chat, and we'll answer them. Best of our ability. So I'm not sure. I thought Grath's Twitter name was Grath Talkin, not G Talkin. Maybe imposter, or is
there a fake Grath on Twitter? That's when you know you made it, when there's a fake Grath.
G Talkin is in chat. I don't know if that's the real Grath. You don't have guns on it. Yeah, you don't have guns on your mouse.
You know, you can put guns on a mouse, but let's see. There's questions going on about other Eve stuff. This is good. My favorite color, I think orange. Orange is definitely my favorite color. What is Elise's opinion on the fatigue roundtable? It was a shit show. Like, this doesn't mean that CCP was bad or anything like that. It's just the entire thing itself was just seemed to be kind of garbage. Mm-hmm. The players were really dicks, and CCP kind of got railroaded by things that they didn't expect. So I don't know. I just okay. Shit show is a bad phrase. It was just a disaster. A disaster. Everyone left feeling really bad about it. Like, CCP were pretty mad about it, I imagine. The players were pretty grumpy about it, judging by Reddit. But I wasn't there for it, so maybe you got some really good information from it.
Let's see. Elise, who's the leader of PL?
Who asked that? It's not me.
Green Bolt 3.
It's just a bunch of dudes. Grath says I am, even though it's not true. He just doesn't want to. He wants to like commissar someone and then just point at me, I think.
Wait, get fucked. Bro, Grath, come on, man. That's not. I'm not an imposter.
Oh, nice. Match is beginning. Afterlife versus Together We Solo. Yep. I haven't zoomed in on it, but it looks like Together We Solo are in a nope.
No.
Together We Solo are not in a Tinker team. They're just in a underpiloted, battleship-heavy team. All right. All right.
I don't know to.
This
I don't know
was
what to
not
say.
the play for sure.
I mean, it's like such a hodgepodge of ships too. It's like a Balgorn, Rattlesnake, and Navy Scorpion. I guess a shield tank Balgorn. I'm
okay,
so confused.
So the bands, I think, are very telling. The Afterlife banned Tengu Loki, so they obviously banned Shield Tinkers. Together We Solo obviously wanted to take a Shield Tinker, but because the Tengu and Loki were banned, just like, yeah, I got a scimitar, we can make this work. And so they're going to try and make it work.
They really wanted to bring a shield team. Like, they weren't going to let anything stop them.
Yep, so they're definitely going to try and tinker. It's going to be a disaster, I believe. But, you know, stranger things have happened. The Afterlife are taking a team that we saw earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot who had it, but it's, I think this is a CVA team, right?
Yeah, it was CVA.
Yeah,
The Barghest
this is the Barghest Sleipnir team.
And their Basilisk died instantly.
Yeah.
I don't think you won't see that here. You won't see that here. However,
the Rattlesnakes is a weird ship. It was very popular in the last Alliance tournament because it was like one of the tankiest sentry missile platforms.
You also had Tech 2 drones.
Yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. It was a tankiest sentry drone platform. I don't know what I actually said, but right now the drones aren't that strong. You can't use sentries. You have to just use heavy drones, which are kind of shitty. I'm pretty sure you can use geckos in this Alliance tournament. I don't think they're...
Gecko by themselves are pretty overpowered. Just saying. I mean, if they're able to use geckos, which we'll see.
Both teams warped into 50, and their beacons lined up perfectly, so they're 100 from each other. Which...
It's kinda, like, you aren't going to see much damage come from these Sleipnirs until they're able to get within range.
Yeah, the Afterlife team isn't going to be too happy about this, but they're going to go for the Scimitar straight off anyways. These Barghests might be able to get in range quick enough to apply their damage and nuke the Simi. The Simi from Together We Solo isn't really moving that much.
You know, he's got some speed on him now. He's looks like he's... Oh, I'm not seeing any prop mod. Like 474,
well,
480.
All right, so okay, he's tanking. He's doing his best Tinker impersonation right now. So he's somehow nuded. He's being nuded by his own team.
Yeah,
he's definitely
nude.
being nuded by his own team. That is not the play, buddies. Together we solo. You meant to put that cap transfer on the Scimitar. There you go. He got it off. He saw his mistake. It was just a button. These things happen.
Well, that's a heavy nuke. I mean, that's a lot of cap. That is a lot of cap that just got pulled away.
But we can see that they definitely wanted to tinker before, so we can see the cap transfer effects going to the Scimitar now from these rattlesnakes and from this rattlesnake and Navy Scorpion Core. There's a bunch of rep drones around the Scimitar as well. This Scimitar is tanking. The Sleipnirs are just now getting into range, it looks like, so we'll see.
Another nuke being applied now. The Sleipnir's going to shred the Scimitar. The Sleipnirs have so much damage versus a cruiser-sized ship.
Yeah, alright, so this newt is definitely from the Scimitar, or from the Sleipnir. So this Scimitar isn't being neuted by his own team anymore. He's doing his best to tank, but unlike a Tinker Tengu, he's not as tanky. He's doing his best.
Yeah, as his armor gets obliterated.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need armor. That's what you gotta hope for.
We got 3 chances here, boys. 3 chances.
Yeah,
Shield,
so
armor, and hull.
going up right now. So he's stabilized his tank a little bit.
I'm really intrigued at how well this Scimitar is actually holding on. I mean, he's probably overloading right now, and at the risk of burning up his rep.
So I have a feeling this Afterlife team has their Barghest on reload, right? So either their Barghests are on reload, or they're just shooting drones. But I can't really tell.
I'm not seeing any missile effects coming from the Barghest.
Yeah,
so
okay. So the Barghests aren't shooting any of these rattlesnake drones or anything, which probably would have been smart, because that's all the rattlesnake can really do. But let's see.
Looks like
Together
DPS is swapping
shooting
onto the Raptor. Together Solo putting DPS on the Raptor, try to remove the frigate from the field. And he's not taking any
Scimitar.
damage.
No, the Barghests have finished their reload cycle, and this Scimitar is not long for this world. Oh no. Okay,
Wow.
no, he's fine. He's fine.
It's crazy how much his rapid heavies do. Much?
He is not fine.
Like those Sleipnirs could not touch the Scimitar at all. But those Barghests, as soon as they hit that reload cycle, the amount of DPS from the rapid heavies is just giant.
Yeah, that was disgusting. That was disgusting. And now that this Afterlife team is applying most of its damage, we'll see this Shield Balagorn go down from Together We Solo. I wonder what their flagship was, because these teams in the losers brackets. Oh wait, no, are these teams in the losers brackets? Yeah. No, these are the winners bracket.
Yes,
okay.
Winner bracket.
So they don't need to field their best setup. So maybe this wasn't there.
Yeah, and the match on the second stream started as well. Absolution Armageddon from Gone Critical. Actually, it's kind of an interesting team from Gone Critical. 2 interesting teams from this loser bracket side. This match on the top stream is pretty much over.
Yeah, Together We Solo have lost, unfortunately, and Afterlife doing really well with CVA setup. Let's swap over to this.
Yep, swapping over. Together Solo will drop down to the loser's bracket because they both have both their lives left. So here we have Gone Critical. Like I said, interesting setup. Absolution, Armageddon, Scorpion, Narrows, Hurricane Fleet, which is Vigilant. I think they took whatever was in the station and kind of threw it into a fleet. And then you have a kind of a double curse setup control team here.
So we've got two disgusting control teams. Like, look at the control bars. These are the control bars are completely maxed out. They're as big as they get. End of Life went with a dual curse sort of control. So again, no damage, but lots of nuke pressure. And Gone Critical went a similar route, except they just took every type of control they could find. They took an Armageddon, which has newts, similar to that of a curse. They took a Scorpion, which just has jams. And they've got a Blackbird for extra jams. Not bad. Unfortunately for Gone Critical, they've lost their Daredevil, and their Vigilant, which maybe you wouldn't think is too big of a deal, but that represents a big amount of their damage application. The Daredevil, 300 DPS, Vigilant probably about 500 or 600 in this configuration. And so right now they're just praying and hoping that they can get a jam on this Oneros. And which it looks like they did actually, and this curse from End of Life is dying. So Gone Critical probably has another 10-15 seconds left where they have to kill this curse. You think maybe if they still had their Blackbird, or rather their Daredevil or their Vigilant, they would have died, and it dies anyway. Okay.
They really needed their Vigilant there. They could have taken out they probably taken out 2 ships there in the time the jam was applied. But the Blackbird's down now, so hopefully the Scorpion was the one with the jam applied to the curse and not the Blackbird.
Whoops! Gone Critical just lost their Oneros. It succumbed to just nuke pressure and then just got swarmed by these sacrileges, which something you don't generally hear. Swarmed by some sacrileges.
You haven't heard that since the Nano days, the heavy missile nanosac. I mean, now you're gonna see heavy assault missiles on the sacrileges, but still, that was a rather
sacrilege is not a tournament ship generally because it's 12 points for
a mediocre ship. Well, not even a mediocre ship. It's a pretty bad ship.
It's kind of bad, yeah. I'd say bad for the sacrilege, but hey, it's winning right now, so it can't be that bad, right?
right, guys.
So meanwhile, Gone Critical have this is actually the team that got thrown into the losers bracket because the team they were facing warped in at 100.
Yes.
And they were super bros about it. So I'm kind of sad to see them go. They took a really weird out of the box setup that I don't think you could have predicted if you were End of Life. Like if you're on the End of Life team, you would never see this Gone Critical team coming. You'd get completely blindsided by it. But likewise, Gone Critical probably could not have expected a dual curse, dual sacrilege team either. So just some wild stuff going on from both teams.
Because it's Rick Hoover, I don't know if he's a troll or not, but he says, why did the Scorpion, or sorry, not Scorpion, why did the Rattlesnake and Navy Scorps have speed rigs?
Did they have speed rigs?
I don't know.
All right.
I can't tell if he's trolling or not.
All right.
I'm going to open up. Actually, you're looking right now, Elise?
Yeah, but I'm really dumb and slow, so I'm trying to find it. Well, let's see.
Losers bracket, black.
The Rattlesnake did have a large auxiliary thruster on it. All right. All right.
I don't even.
Well, I guess I just wanted to get to the destination really fast. Kind of an unlucky sort of setup.
Yeah, I'm looking at the.
Oh, and they were actually torp fit too. Nice la.
Well, I mean, they did face battleships, so that's not that big of a deal. But the Black Legion game wasn't that with Verge?
That was against the Verge of Tinker, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see, the Scorpion Navy issue also had torps. All right. So we were saying that these guys might have had rapid heavies, but nope, they were just torp battleships. And the Scorpion Navy issue also had large auxiliary thrusters and 3 ballistic control systems.
Out of Sight had an unfit stealth bomber in their team.
Nice. These things happen.
Effective use of points there.
Yeah. I mean, there were only 3 points. How bad could it be?
And so it looks like the both streams still going on. One ship left on the blue side on each stream. Nighthawk, as I said, Nighthawk just instantly gets zonked so hard, and the Absolution is going to burn down as well for Gone Critical. So Gone Critical is out of the tournament. Like I said, there was the controversial match they had yesterday, and now they're gone. And Together We Solo will drop down to the losers bracket.
Yep. So End of Life keeps going on, and it looks like the first match that we were watching before just now finished. The Afterlife Together We Solo match just finished, and Afterlife obviously won. It just took them forever to close it out. And coming up next in the winners bracket, we have Ministry of Inappropriate Footwork versus Triumvirate, which is going to be a great match. That'll round out the matches before the break. And in the losers bracket, we have Nerfed Alliance Go Away versus Dreamfleet, which should be interesting. I think it's going to be an exciting match to watch. Maybe not for the general reasons that a match is exciting. I think it's going to be exciting regardless. Like, you can't predict what's going to happen on that match. Who knows what Naga are going to bring? Who knows what Dreamfleet are going to bring? They might bring an Abaddon. Who knows? They're crazy. And they're crazy and in the losers bracket. So let's see what else. Nice. End of Life.
Yes.
100 to 1. 100 to 13.
I'm more tore up than I thought I would be about Gone Critical going out after the match yesterday. Because typically teams would be like super bitter and angry that they lost, and then like demand like a redo because of it. But they're like, whatever, it happens.
Yeah, but they just didn't care at all. They were like, whatever, we are playing in the tournament.
Cap Q, why is no one using 250mm vultures? Vultures are overpowered.
Well, 250 vultures are definitely the end game. Just the dual 16-point 250 rail vultures.
Nully's holding it in their back pocket, Cap Q, for when they fight PL this year.
Yep.
First it was the heavy interdictors, now it's the vultures. Are the Goons in the tournament? No. We actually wanted to do a tournament team this year, and we applied, but we weren't going to actually pay for the lottery to get in. So since when we didn't make it in the first run, we decided not to do it this year. But we actually wanted to make it a legitimate shot with practice and everything. Asher Ellis is the guy who leads Reavers, was going to do it. What happened to Gone Critical yesterday, Epidemic yesterday in the Gone Critical match, which versus the team, I think I still have the thread open. Hold on.